So, because Unfriended Dark Web is coming out tomorrow, and I'm planning on seeing it, I thought I would knock out the first Unfriended here, which I've already seen, but I wanted to talk about it, so I had to watch it again so that I could properly talk about it. I think Unfriended is probably the biggest surprise in the horror genre of the year that it was released. I went into it, I think like most people, and was like, this will be like blah at best. And I ended up thinking it was like in the top 5 of the year, horror-wise. I thought it was freaking fantastic. I thought the atmosphere, everything was great. And it was shocking to me. In fact, almost everyone I've talked to who actually did see it was like, I can't believe how damn good it is. And then usually the people are like, oh, it's garbage, whatever. I talk to them and they're like, well, I didn't see it. And I'm like, yeah, you got to see it. So now, of course, there's going to be people who saw it and they're going to say it was awful and blah, blah, blah. And that's their own opinion. That's totally fine. But I have found that the majority of people I've talked to who said that they didn't like this haven't seen it. And the people who have, really enjoyed it. So now this movie deals mostly with bullying and the effects that this new, social media platform has to bully people. This is something I've talked about in other videos, and something I talk about at work, and something I talk about with friends and anybody really, is like just how I can't comprehend what kids go through today in school with this, social media being so prominent and permanent. Like when I was bullied in school, I was bullied and there was like 10 kids around, and those were the kids that knew it, and it would be like word of mouth. It would travel around the school, and within like a week or two it would usually dissipate into nothing. And if it was a really bad thing, like it didn't happen to me, but other kids where something really embarrassing happened, it was just kind of rumor, and it would follow them around, no doubt, but it left. And especially like once they left high school and whatnot, they may have taken the mental scars with them, but for the most part people kind of just, it would phase out. But unfortunately, with this new platform, with this new ability here, they can, everyone grabs their phones and they record everything every 5 seconds now. If anything crazy starts happening, people grab it and they want to document it. They don't go to help, they go to like, oh, I better film it, I'll put it up on YouTube and get some hits. And it's there forever. Like once you put something up online, it's there, man, and it's just part of your past. And I can't imagine being able to right now go online, go into YouTube, click on some video from 20 years ago when I was in high school, and click on a video of some guy kicking my ass or me doing something super embarrassing. Like that's terrifying to me. Like that is mind-blowing to me that kids have to deal with something like that. Of course, there's a little more focus on school bullying now than there was when I was a kid. School bullying when I was a kid was just kind of like, wasn't really talked about all that much. It was just starting a little bit, but for the most part, it was just kind of like you got your ass kicked. It was like, fucking deal with it, pussy. Nowadays, everyone, there's campaigns and this and that, which is great because bullying is awful. And the people who are bullies, yes, they probably have things going on at home and this and that, but the real shithead bullies, man, I'm sorry, those people rarely change. Yes, every once in a great while, there'll be the exception to the rule, and he'll have a big turnaround and he'll do things. But for the most part, and I'm talking women here too, those people who were like dreadful, awful bullies in school, they're still pieces of shit right now. Those guys who bullied you in high school, the majority of them still suck to this day. They probably didn't get anywhere though. Some of them did, unfortunately. But anyways, now I'm just speaking from a place of like insecurity and bad memories. So let's not get too into that. They say something in this that I've always been curious on where it came from. I've heard it like Happy Death Day does it, and plenty of movies, and my brother and I do it now because it's just too funny to me when they get off the phone and they're like, bye. I don't know where that came from. If someone could tell me where like the genesis of that fucking bye thing came from, I'm just curious. But here it is in this one, so it way predates Happy Death Day, so I'm not sure where the origins of that bye came from, but I found it pretty damn funny. One thing that I think that, God, I think this movie's so damn well made. I think it's so well crafted. I think the atmosphere, the tension, the acting, I think everything is excellent. And you can disagree with me on all you want to give a shit. But one thing I think is really unique, and we don't really get to see in any other film, and something that this has that other films just don't have as a tool, is instead of narration, we actually kind of get to see a little deeper into Blair's mind, the main girl here, Blair's character, because she randomly throughout the stuff we get to see like what she's typing on the screen, and it's kind of like a glimpse into her mind and the way she's processing it, and she'll write things out on the screen and like what she originally means, and then she like thinks better of it, and then she erases it, and then she puts something else and then thinks better of it and erases it and tries to like restructure it and all that. We don't get to really see that in films very much. We usually either get narration or we just have to read facial changes or whatever to read what the character's thinking. And I think that's a really interesting viewpoint into this character's mind. And I think that really helps because we get to see what this character's thinking, what they're feeling, what the irrational behavior, the calculated decisions, I think it's all so well done. And it does all feel like it's one cohesive thing, like it's all done in one shot. I mean, of course it isn't, but it does have that feel like a silent house or something where the entire film is done in one sitting. And I think it's all very seamless, and I think all the actors and actresses in this film do an excellent job, especially during that Never Have I Ever game. I think that scene is so fucking tense because we all have secrets. We all have things. We all think we're so perfect sometimes. Like, not all of us. Some of us know we're pieces of shit. But there are people, and I can fall into this category at times where I can try to convince myself that I'm a better man than I am. And I try to block out, and this is mostly for self-preservation. You don't want to think of every awful, stupid thing you've done because, people are people. They're not perfect. They make mistakes. They do stupid things, when they're drunk or when they're young or when they're just because they're assholes or whatever. Everybody has secrets. Everyone has pasts, and we're not proud of everything we've done. Maybe there's some perfect person out there who's literally has nothing that they've ever done that they regret, or I'm not saying regret. I guess there are people who are like, no regrets, but you know what I'm getting at. But I just love how that scene really, really plays off of that so intensely. Like, everyone is just turning on each other. And of course, that's what Laura Barnes' character wants. The ghost of Laura Barnes, she wants everyone to turn on themselves. That she's getting off on this. This is like she could make them kill themselves at any moment. Like, she has the ability to control them to jam a fucking knife through their eye or put their faces into a blender or whatever, what have you. She has that ability from moment one. So she doesn't need to do any of this for her revenge. But her revenge is watching these people so upset, so destroyed, so distraught, turning on each other. These people who think they're like best friends, and at the beginning they're all just so chummy and they're so full of shit, and they're all doing awful things behind each other's backs. They're all fucking around. They're all, this is reality. This is unfortunately reality. When I got out of high school, I didn't find out until a year or less ago that my high school girlfriend, who I was crazy in love with, and she was crazy in love with me. She can say whatever she wants, but we were together for years. We were all about each other. I didn't find out until very recently that she was fucking my friends behind my back. I had no idea. And I would have never we had a bad falling out, this and that, but I never thought she would have cheated on me until I found out recently. And it's like that. You think you know people. And of course that wants to make you jaded towards people in the future. But unfortunately, I don't do that. I'm personally, this person's like, these people shouldn't have to suffer the sins of other people. Like, yes, they may fuck you over too, but not in that same way. So you can't assume, and we all grow up as well. But I just think it's interesting because my high school friends growing up, I thought we were like the closest shit. And we all eventually fell out, fell from grace from each other. I fucking dislike almost every one of them now. And I wouldn't talk to a damn one of them. So watching this film, it really kind of just resonated with me very heavily because of those kinds of things where all these secrets are coming out. And I don't know how, like, I felt it now, like, I'm a 36-year-old man. I think I found out last year, so I think it was like 35 when Jason told me, but he let me know that, like, hey, your girlfriend fucked your friends, and they were like letting her take pictures of it, and like, I was like, oh my God, it was just this foreign story in my head, like, no way she could do that. But I knew it was true. Like, just thinking back on it, it's like you deny it because you want to. But like really getting into it. And I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm watching that and I'm thinking, like, how would I have reacted if I found out then? Like, now it hurt. And I was sitting there like, I'm a 35-year-old man, 36-year-old man, however age I was, and I'm hurt. This happened almost 20 years ago. How am I still, like, how am I hurt? I should just kind of like laugh that off and be like, whatever. But somehow it still stung because it like destroyed my memory of a really good point in my life. So I guess that does make a little bit of sense. But thinking about what it would have done to me then, if I found out, like, while we were together, because that's just it. She is saving herself for her boyfriend. She's saving herself for this guy. And come to find out, he's been like, waiting, he's been this and that, and he finds out that she has been fucking around on him with his best friend, which is exactly what happened to me. And I did find out about that, but that's a whole nother story. It doesn't matter. But oh man, like, just the devastation and her ability to post the shit that they were doing, like, on their Facebook pages and on their social medias, that would destroy your fucking life. You could easily destroy someone's life by hacking their account. Sorry, I got interrupted there and I had to pause it for a second and come on back. So here I'm back. So anyways, getting back to what I was saying here. Just like taking someone's Facebook account or, something like that, Instagram, whatever. I mean, I know a lot of people are like more switching over to Instagram, whatnot. But in this, it's Facebook, which I think adds to the authenticity that we're getting Skype and we're getting FaceTime, and it's not some like off-brand that's created for the movie, like what that is, fucking doesn't matter. I mean, but those like made-up names, like seeing actual programs that we're familiar with, Facebook and whatnot, and the sounds of Skype, it's just, it makes it more authentic. But you could fuck someone's life up so simply if you were to able to hack their account. Like, you could just do something super simple. Like, just hack their account and put, like, I hate the N-word. I don't want to say it on here because I know some people are super sensitive about that word. But you know what I mean. You could put that on there and just put enter. Oh my God, you'd have, like, fucking hate. And no matter what you did, you could do something so easy. And for them to actually post real shit, like stuff that you did do, oh my God, it would destroy your life. And I think that's why the only part of this movie I do not like, one part, and it's 2 seconds long, and a lot of horror films fall into this bullshit place. And Blumhouse does this a lot, unfortunately. They do this last like 2-second jump scare bullshit. Freaking Paranormal Activity did it, where she comes at the camera and her face changes and morphs. Never liked that. They do at the end of Ouija, Origin of Evil, when the kid, it's up on the ceiling, and then they do it in this where the hand closes and then like, it's such a dumb like exit scare, and I hate it because what really should have happened here is she should have let Blair just live with it. Like, all her friends are dead. And now her name is fucking trash. She put that video, the whole video up there of Blair actually filming Laura shitting herself on the ground or whatever and being like, hoo, 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 and then posting it and all that. Or her boyfriend posted it, I guess. But, like, that would have been way more of a punishment than just then killing her. Like, I get it, like, she trashed her name, but she's dead. Although, I guess in this scenario, there is definitely an afterlife and they're in hell and they're gonna have it. But they're not going to be caring about what their name is like when they're sitting down in hell or whatever. Because Laura says, you wouldn't like it where I am. Or like, you're all going to live in here with me and live with this shit forever and all that. So I don't know. I think like leaving her, like, I think it would have been a better ending if we just kept seeing that shit scroll up, like, you bitch, you monster, like, how fucking could you? And just her face, like, oh my God, my life's fucking over. Like, and just her crying and then just like done. Like, for me, that's just such a more grim ending than her dying, like Laura coming from the, actually seeing her ghost. And that's dumb. That was a dumb decision. Like, I'm sure the director, I bet you that wasn't a director's decision. I bet that was a studio bullshit decision. And the original ending was her sitting there like, my fucking life is over. This bitch has ruined my life and I fucking deserve it and I know it. That is how this movie should have ended, and it would have sat with you. I think it would have just like, I don't know, I think this is a really good movie for young kids, like 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 15-year-olds that are in high school, and they're like sitting there and they're thinking about bullying, they're thinking putting it online. Yeah, it might only last a week, but hey, who knows how many fucking bullying attempts that would thwart or whatever. But it's kind of like when I talked about It Follows. I'm like, It Follows is the worst fucking movie to take a girl to if you're trying to get laid. Like, no one wants to fucking have sex after that movie. And it's kind of like this, like, no bully wants to go over and bully people unless they're like a total dick who's committed to it and they're like, fuck that movie, it didn't scare me, I'm gonna go bully someone just because. But yeah, and I thought that the dialogue and like the text communication, like all the little abbreviations and as I said, like the talks between them was very authentic. It felt like high school kids, and the kids looked like kids. They looked like 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, something like in that area. And the way they were talking to each other, it felt like a real friendship. And I just thought that was super well executed. I very much felt a friendship, and then I also felt that breakdown, that you know, their relationships and everything falling apart. It actually really worked well for me. The countdowns were really tense. Her telling her that, you know, exposing things like on the other side of the camera and being like, if you do this, I'm going to show this. I thought that was all well done. I thought that scene where Val is sitting there and she's just completely still and they think it's like frozen and then the phone's moving and then she like falls over. I thought that was really creepy. The camera being in that kid's freaking little grate down there and them getting up, and and then like all the different like ways they kill themselves, and it's just super quick. And this movie doesn't need to be gory. It's fine. I'm glad it was R-rated though, so that they could cuss, because you can't have a situation like this with teenagers and they're not cussing like a motherfucker. Like, that's just reality. Doing this PG-13 would have felt very disingenuous to how teenagers would act. I have a bunch of things written down here. I didn't stick to my notes at all because I just kind of started rambling. Trying to go through them really quick. Oh man, like him having to watch the footage of his best friend fucking, like she's like, oh, it only lasted a second, and then they see it and it's like all intimate and he's like kissing up her leg and she's moaning and she like turns the camera away, and then she has to admit they fucked a second time, but it didn't last very long and they knew it was wrong and all this. And shit, lots of people have done that. That's just reality. Like, some people have fucked around one time on their lovers or whatever, and they're just like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, and they bury it, and it's just that one thing they did on that one night, and they try to forget about it, and that past comes up to bite them in the ass, and then they're sitting there like, I'm so sorry, I didn't, you know. And humans they're not perfect. And this film illustrates that very well. And, you know, when you want to play that game of exposing people, you better be ready to be exposed too, because you got shit too. And I just, yeah, as I said, let's see, I think that's about it. Oh, like, reveal this and Adam dies. That's his name, right? And then like the boyfriend's like, I'm gonna fucking shut it off, I'm gonna kill myself, basically. Like, if I shut this off, I'm gonna die anyway. And she's like, she doesn't want her boyfriend to die, which I think proves ultimately that she does love him over the other guy. She reveals the note and he immediately shoots himself. That scene's tense. That whole fucking sequence of the never have I ever thing is fantastic. I think just super tense. Acting is on point. Everyone's so agitated, and I thought everyone did such a fantastic job there. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm not going to go through my notes anymore, but I'm looking forward to it. I can't imagine that Dark Web is anywhere near as good as this, but like that one, or like this one, I'm going to go in with an open mind, and maybe my expectations are higher than they should be because I had none for this one and it ended up being great, and then I'll have expectations because of this one for that one, and then it won't end up being very good, which will make me think it's garbage. I try never to do that, so I'll go in with an open mind. Hopefully I'll be seeing it tomorrow and I can come back and tell you if it's like even sort of anywhere near as good as this one, but we'll see. Until then, all right guys.